let's go ahead and get started. We're going to have a really great meeting tonight. I'm so thrilled we have so many people here. This is really, really good. So we have a little slideshow to start out with, and we have 3 speakers. We'll get rolling with that. I will tell you, I received a birthday present over the weekend, and unbeknownst to me, I'll have to leave the meeting a little early in order to make that concert that children bought me tickets for. But not to worry, we have 3 wonderful people helping us, Gino, Wilma, and Linda, who all will answer all your questions. And of course, Jessica is always here. Gordon is also here, our president-elect. So we've got plenty of people with experience. So let's move on to slide 2. Jessica?
I'm trying.
Okay.
It's not moving.
Oh, no.
There we go.
There we go. So tonight we're really just going to talk about achievement awards, and the information that I have on these few slides is just from page 4 in the awards booklet. So I just broke it out a little bit so that it would be easier to see. Basically, I did this for those who are going to watch it later. Sometimes it's easier when you can see it written as well. But the biggest thing here is that they need to be at the AMBUCS Center by May 15th. Next slide, please.
I was under the impression that the nominations had to go through the regional directors. Is that not true?
We changed that last year where they would, to allow people a little more time to get submissions in, they would just come to us. But
Okay.
we intend to also share with region directors the copies of the submissions.
Okay.
There we go. So make sure your recipients are eligible. And so those requirements are probably going to be discussed tonight. And they're listed in that regional, or sorry, I've been doing way too many regional things, in the Achievement Award guideline. Next slide, please. So if you have a district governor, make sure you check with them to see if there are any other awards at different levels, because, and Great Plains can talk about that more than any of the others, but it's just a note to be made. Next slide, please. You can get creative. I don't know about your chapters, but Danville creates extra awards that they like to give each year. So, and of course our booklet says make them as zany or traditional as you would like. I've had some questions about, hey, we have an AMBUC with 50 years. What can we do for them? We need an award. So they can create an award for that.
Hey,
next slide. Yeah.
Hey, there's somebody's got some feedback. Can you maybe mute everybody, or because we can't hear you real clearly because there's some feedback.
Okay, Jessica can mute.
I think somebody just muted themselves. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And I think this goes straight through my earpiece, so I shouldn't have extraneous noise, but
I think that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
We can't hear you at all. There's a lot of feedback.
Yeah, I think it's going through your earpiece.
Can you hear it now? Can you hear me now?
That's better.
Okay. I'll just turn up a little bit. I probably have my volume too high to the outside. I just have a few things to say and then I'll be done. We'll go to the next slide. Okay, we talked about May 15th already. I'm not sure why it was twice, but there we go. Next slide. Just the individual ones, AMBUC of the Year, Project Manager of the Year. Next slide. Some people ask if they can do a couple or something like that, but it's always been one person. Then the community service, local charities, newsletter, and visibility are for the chapter. Next slide, please. These are very interesting because we have the Therapist of the Year. And so people oftentimes have someone that they want to honor. And that one is listed in our guide as well as the district governor newsletter. Next slide, please. It seems like this repeated itself. So you've already seen this. Next slide, please. All right, I am going to turn the meeting over to Roma, Gino, and Linda. They are going to speak in the order they're listed here, although Roma is going to discuss visibility instead of Gino. And then Jessica will close the meeting, and I thank you all, and I need to go celebrate my birthday, which is not till May, but I'm only here tonight. So
Happy
thank you
pre-birthday.
all.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Sorry.
Happy
Take
birthday.
care.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Roma, it's all yours.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Donna.
Okay, so I'm Roma Rusk with Mid-Cities AMBUCS, and I have the pleasure of talking about AMBUC of the Year. And this is such a fun thing to do for our members in our group. And so basically, National has got it all provided for us where we go to the AMBUC awards guidelines. And so the first thing that you need to do is to check the eligibility requirements. Does your nominee have 75% or higher attendance during the year? Have they sponsored a member? They must be well, most of you have a region, a district, so they also have to be selected as a chapter AMBUC of the year. So I'm not going to read all of these, but you definitely can go to the guidelines and you can take a look at it. So I always check the eligibility requirements first, and then I kind of have an idea who in my chapter meets those requirements. And then I also just go around and nonchalantly ask other members in the club who they would recommend for the various awards and for what reasons. At that time, I start making bullet points. Like this AMBUC has been in AMBUC less than 1 year, and she's already brought in 9 members. This AMBUC has organized Christmas gifts. So I just go and start making bullet points of everything that this AMBUC has done. And once I've done that, I just start typing. And so usually my first draft is like 3 pages long, and then I have to go back to each. I say a bullet point, to me, it's like a paragraph. Another thing that you want to be aware of is going and seeing what the judges are looking at. First of all, it needs to be approximately 500 words, a brief summary of their accomplishments since they become an AMBUC member. How many chapter meetings have they made during the past 12 months? New members, what is their enthusiasm about? What community committee activities are they in? Are they, big hat president? Are they also the wine wobble, chairman? Have they brought in, do they have a life membership? So all of those things the judges are looking for. So that's what I try to do. And so it's not a quick process. It usually takes about 3 days, and my first draft never looks like my final draft. So those are my thoughts on AMBUC of the Year. In regards to community service, I handle it the same way. I go and I look to see the requirement. A chapter has to be in good standing. That means all national, regional, and district dues and Amtrak invoices paid. And then what are the judges looking for? The community service activities for a 12-month period. Again, it needs to be 500 words. What are the benefits derived from the expenditure of the fund raised by the chapter? And what is derived from the time and effort expended by the chapter fulfilling its community service? Again, I do the bullet points to make sure that I have everything down of what our chapter has done. I check with our board members because, sometimes when you start brainstorming, you don't remember everything. Like Reefs Across America, or we did a food bank, et cetera. So again, that's how I do mine. And that's for community service. Visibility is a very similar thing. Again, You need to be in good standing. All national, regional, and district dues and Amtrak invoices paid. It's a 500-word essay, detailed chapter visibility activities for months of February through May, and what the benefits were derived from the public relation efforts by the chapter. Again, each of these awards will be 500 words or less. Also on the national awards guideline will be the cover sheet, which be the entry form. You'll have one for each of the awards, one for AMBUC of the Year, one for community service, and one for visibility. It's very self-explanatory how to fill it out and then send that along with your 500-word essay up to national. That's all I have.
So I guess I'm next, huh, Roma?
Yes, you are, Gino.
So everybody, I'm Gino Kaler. I'm a little bit new to this regional and national game, but Donna and the group asked me to just kind of say a few words about both the project manager of the year and local charities. And as Roma mentioned, you can go on the hub, you can take a look at what all the qualifications are to fill these out. I'll tell you what, I was president of the Springfield chapter, vice president, and I've received the AMBUC of the Year award, and I've been nominated for project manager before, and it's a lot. It's an honor, and I want you guys to stop and think about all these awards, these achievement awards. It's an honor just to get nominated. We sit there and we give our members that get nominated, we get a little award inside our own chapter. We just get little custom-made glasses, like Manhattan glasses, made up, and it's got their name on it and what we nominated them for. As Roma said, filling these documents out is not an easy task. It takes 1, 2, 3 drafts, whatever. My writing abilities have changed over the years. I used to be a speech writer and everything else, and nowadays I just kind of like get to the point, and I have shortened things up. That's not what you really want anymore when you're filling out these applications. When it comes to project manager of the year, I've got an example of what we actually submitted, and
what I could do.
want it, I can be more than glad. I'll be more than glad to share any of them that I've ever written and kind of give you an idea of what it was. For project manager of the year, you need to kind of look around on a project that you guys actually had inside your chapter. We had one, just an example in Springfield, and it doesn't really matter the size. We had one, it was a $30,000 project. We had more than, I'd say, probably 150 people involved with this project, donating bottles of bourbon. It was a bourbon raffle. And like I said, we raised $30,000, and we took that money and we gave it back out to charities. And we helped with our Amtrak's. And we, of course, knowing Springfield, we spent some of that money on ourselves. That's just kind of what we do. But we sit there, and for our project manager, we went through, and it was a unique idea. He put a lot of work in making the tickets, and like I said, made a lot of money. But it all depends how you write that up. And we got beat by a garage sale, and kind of ruffled some feathers with some of the boys. It's like, man, we worked on this project for 10 months. Kent Gray, he was the project manager that year, and we didn't win anything. It's like, how does a garage sale beat us? But you get some small chapters out there that they get 100% participation out of their small chapter. 100% participation. We can't ever do that in Springfield. We're too big when it comes to that. And I totally understand and respect that. That is so cool. Get 100% participation out of your chapter. You include things in that, like that, in your application. And the reviewers, the team that actually reviews these things, they take their time and they look at all that. So, we ended up not winning that year, but I'll tell you what, just by nominating this individual for the national award and then recognizing them at our ceremony at the end of the year, and that's one thing that everybody's elections are a little bit different. So just make sure whoever your officers are, that they are aware of what year they are actually submitting the paperwork for. We had a change in our election time periods in Springfield, and that kind of came into play. Who's picking what candidates for what year? So if you want help, you want to see a couple examples, I'll be more than glad to share anything that I got. I've got a pile of them here for the local charities. You need to submit again by May 15th. It says regions will be allowed a percentage of entries based upon the number of chapters in the region. And that's a call that Jay and I will talk about because Jay's still in charge there. So that'll kind of be his call. List each local cause, community service project to which a chapter contributed and the amount. It says don't consider the national program of giving. Springfield, we've been very fortunate over the years. We've done different fundraisings, including our big fundraisers that involves with the Illinois State Fair, and we have large amount of money to give away. Well, when you go through and you list on the back of your document, when you list on the back of the document the different local charity causes or community service projects that you granted, the more the merrier. It's an honor to receive this as a chapter president. I'm telling you, the people involved with the fundraising that does it, they got a piece of the pie in this. The people that coordinate the giveaways when we give the money away to local charities, they got a big sense of accomplishment, and it's a good feeling. So just letting your entire team know that you've submitted this application and you write it out and you see the local charities that you help, it's a good feeling. I'm telling you, just fill out the application. That's an easy one to do. You need to, with that, you also need to have chapter membership from Blue Chip Reports and the award year down on the bottom of the page. You want to record that, and total monetary impact per member, which even with the size that Springfield is, we got, close to 300 members. The amount of money we gave away was still significant per member. So that comes into play in front of the judges and reviewers' eyes. So a few tips. I don't want to talk all night, but just a couple ideas. And again, I want to be that conduit. If you need help with writing it up, if you want to know some of the rules, I don't know all the rules, but I'll tell you what, I'm really kind of excited to start investigating and learning what some of these rules and processes are myself. So some of the awards that we're talking about tonight, we have not done from Springfield. So it's interesting that I'll be able to learn that as along with you guys. That's it for me. Linda, is that what you wanted, Jay?
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay. Well, let's see if I can jump in here, right? So I have newsletter and district governor award, and then also therapist of the year. So with the newsletter, the first thing that everyone said so far is that we need to make sure not only that our president or whoever's doing our points, whoever's handling any of the awards, they need to pull what the national guidelines are. And each one of your clubs may have separate guidelines, but nationals and the award is going to go by what their guidelines are. So it is very important to follow what's already written. You need to be in good standing with your newsletter in order to turn this in with your national dues, regional, district dues. And one thing that people forget about are the Amtrak invoices all have to be paid. So you need to be in good standing with all of those. Then your newsletter needs to be 6 of the best newsletters that include everything from June 1st to May 31st. And a lot of the newsletters are done online nowadays. And so your newsletter person is saving them. If they need somebody to go back through each one of the letters and then check off to make sure those newsletters carry everything that's in the award, then they need to have some help, and always ask for that help. So your awards, you're going to pick 2 from June and July, 2 from January to December. I guess I
let's see, one from June and July, December, January, August, September, February, March, October, November, and April and May. So you'll have your 6 awards. Well, it says total of 4 newsletters. You have to submit the whole entire newsletter. They will have, they ask certain questions. So you make sure that you followed how many members of your chapter there are, and who are you distributing your newsletters to. And that is by hand. Some of them can be by at club. A lot of our older members, they don't have computers, so we have to bring those newsletters to club. How many are those? And then who do you get them out through the AMBUC world? Are you getting them to your district chapters, your district officers, your national officers, your regional officers, the resource center, any past presidents? If you have several clubs in your area, are you getting them to the presidents of each one of the club? So make sure that you have a great distribution of the newsletter. And then you just follow the guidelines that it asks you for in the final judging. So what's the editorial content? Your originality, how's that going? Your distribution is huge. The appearance and the reader interest, and then references to national and organizations and activities, your regional activities, your district activities, and then whatever you want to put in your newsletter. So the bottom line is you'll have a total of the points. And if you're going to have a tie or whatever, then it may be down to the judges making that decision. And it will tell you that on those forms as well, that it may be the judge's decision. So a lot of times we have what we think is a really good newsletter, and it fits all the boxes, but we haven't won in a long time. And so the bottom line is the judges may make that determination. So just school your people on each one of these forms. Your board, you should have a group that's going to help with the awards. In our case, we have a points keeper for our AMBUC of the year. She also helps to make decisions on our project manager, along with our president and our vice president. And you should have 2 or 3 people helping you with those awards, so that you know, it's not just one person, and it's not just a popularity contest. We had that several years, so we had to do the point system. But the newsletters are really exciting, and there's some really good ones out there. If you're not getting them, it'd be nice to check on different clubs or chapters to see what kind of news, especially the ones who are winning, to see what their newsletter looks like, and just kind of follow what they're doing. I wish there was a way that at the end, and you don't win, they could tell you what to do wrong, but that isn't part of it. It does say on the newsletter form that it should be turned into the resource center by July 1st. But so be sure, and it also says by May 15th. So make sure that you know your deadlines and know your eligible. Can't even speak tonight. You know what your eligibility. You know what I'm talking about.
Eligible.
They're eligible. And okay, so district governor newsletter. So I learned a couple of things on this myself, and Gordon may want to jump in later, but I was not aware that the district governor's newsletter can be turned in to nationals by a club member, an individual, by a chapter, and or by the district governor. So it's not clear to me if anybody can send it in and they judge off of whoever sends it in your area, or if they just want one person to turn it in. It doesn't say that for sure, but they do judge on the newsletters, and they You have to be in good standing, just like everything with your national, regional, district dues, and also Amtrak invoices are all paid. The district governor must produce newsletters in a regular scheduled manner between June 1st and May 31st for the award year. And then they ask pretty much the same things for judging as the club, the chapter newsletter is, and that's how many distribution you have, your district chapters, district officers, same thing that's on the chapter newsletter. And they also judge, the final judging is the same. So the thing I need to find out on this meeting, maybe Gordon can tell us, is one person turning in the award, or can it be several people turning in this award? And then also, let's see, we have Therapist of the Year. So the Therapist of the Year is very complicated, and it really needs to be, you need to start thinking about your Therapist of the Year now or even before, because there's a lot to it. And your awards person may not be a writer. And so they may be a good collector of information, and they may be a great tallier of the points, or however it is you do your decision making. But on the Therapist of the Year, and there's a couple other ones, that there has to be something written. That needs to be someone who can take the information that you give them about this person, and it could be somebody in your club, a journalist, or somebody who is an English teacher, or just people who have that knowledge of putting the right words in the right place. It needs to be somebody who can sell you on it, that AMBUC of the Year, or sell you on what they've done. And you need to catch, I think you need to catch the reader in that first paragraph. And so you really need to have somebody that can write for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone in AMBUCS, but you want them to know the person. And so we gather as much information as we can on our Therapist of the Year and put that together. And then we have several people in our club that are really good writers, and that can help with that. So I would search out for that person who has good knowledge of that. Your eligibility, I am not going to say that word. In order for them to win, they either have to be an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, speech pathology, or hearing audiology. And they need to be in good, your person needs to be in good standing with National AMBUCS. You have to get permission from them in order to send their name in, because they have to be a part of making this award. Your candidate must be willing to go to national conference, because this is a huge honor that we give at convention. So you'll submit the nominee's resume or their curriculum. So they're going to have to tell you what their education, employment, professional memberships are, their awards, their recognitions. So they have to submit to you all of that information. It's hard to do it on the sly. They don't know that they won, because it gets put in across the nation by all of our club organizations. And so they don't know that, but they just know that they're involved in it. Then we submit a separate a narrative, and it's 800 words. And when you're looking at the words, please try and keep them to the 800. If you're a couple of words over, they're not going to be too judgmental, I don't believe. But I have seen, as being in part of the judging system, I've seen them throw out entries that haven't followed the numbers. And so it's got to be 800 words or less. And you just have to read it over and over and try to decide what words you're taking. And you really need somebody who knows how to write in order to pick your best words and maybe replace what you're taking out with something additional. And then let's see, some of the character traits, the accountability, their compassion, their caring, their integrity, their professional duties, social responsibility, and their excellence. And how do they display these characteristics? So it's really important that you start now and start writing notes on your person that you've selected, and just say everything you can possibly say about them that makes them your therapist of the year. And so that you have time, once you get everything down, that your writer is going to be able to have time to write it and get it into nationals. And we have what, a month and maybe a little over a month, but we have time to do it. But by the time your people gather up all the information, your writer's got to have time. So this one also says return in no later than June 1st to National Resource Center. And so I hand wrote in the on the paperwork that it needs to be May 15th. So basically that's the gist of the Therapist of the Year. Eligibility, the selecting your person and make sure they are eligible, gather the information on it, and then have a writer to help you to put it together. And that's what I know about those. And hopefully somebody will let me know about the district governor part.
Yeah, so thank you all. This amazing panel has had some real luck from their chapters in getting not just third place, not just second place, but first place in these categories. So we're very fortunate that the three of you chimed in to share your experiences and give us some valuable feedback. So for the district governor newsletter, I got to be honest with you, Linda, I have never seen a submission for this particular award before.
Oh,
Jessica, I just sent you an email going, hey, you and I got to talk about this.
Yes, sir. I know. It's quite unfortunate because I know that there's some great communication efforts going on out there, especially in our districts where they've got that small knit group of people who are able to share effective communication. So I would say if we get multiple submissions, it's not the end of the world, but it might be kind of fun for the district and the chapters within those districts to work together to do a submission. And it sounds like it's a pretty good odds there that considering we don't get those district governor newsletter submissions, that your group might be able to rise to the top.
We'd be hard pressed to have a district governor newsletter.
It would be if you don't have districts.
Yep.
But hey, you could bring districts back together and submit.
Yeah, no, hell, no.
And possibly win.
I
In
mean,
just a bit, I'm going to turn it over to our National Big Hat officers because they need to do a plug for the Big Hat Awards. But just up first, I also wanted to kind of talk through where you can find some of these documents and forms that we're talking about. And yeah, it's possible the form might have some misinformation concerning dates on there. So let's reiterate that we would like to see those by May 15th
Yes.
across all categories. So you do have right at a month. Let's see. I need to do two things at once, talk and click. It never goes perfectly. One other thing that I do want to mention is it is a requirement to receive one of our awards that you attend national conference. So if you submit someone and you really think that they're possibly a shoo-in, as of right now, it is a requirement that they come to national conference in order to receive that award. If you've ever been there and third, second, and first all happen to magically be in attendance, that's because we have had to disqualify some people who have not been at national conference. So wanted to be sure to mention that as well. We are pretty good about doing some subtle check-in to make sure that especially first place is going to be there, because we certainly don't want anyone to miss out on the opportunity. All right, so let's go ahead and cover all awards. I'm going to ask for Fina and or Terry to kind of talk us through the Best Big Hat Award. And I've actually got this nomination form pulled up.
Yes. So, if you also look into the new bylaws, which if you don't have them, we can easily get them to you because National has them. And if I see you, I have some too. But in the past, we have not seen too many of these. I think last year we had 2, maybe 3 submissions for this. I know Mountain Metro submitted one and Springfield submitted one, and I can't remember who the third one is, if there was a third one. But it runs from just like the national awards, June 1 to May 31st. And it is awarded to the Big Hat member who has the highest number of new members during the period. Then there's also another one that you could submit as a chapter, and it's the same thing in the opinion of the judges. Outstanding Big Hat activities and recruiting efforts. And it's their banner medallions, just like some of our other national awards. And Terry and I have been really trying to focus on getting people to actually submit these awards. There's not, it doesn't have to be a big, huge write-up. It's the same thing, 500 words. Talk about your activities, talk about that one member that is just bringing members in to the chapter and trying to help the organization grow. You can send pictures. Last year, Jessica, did we have some issues in how they were sent? What is the best way on this form?
Honestly, they can do this or they can do paper submission. I just
Okay.
wanted to show this form because I know not everybody knows about it. But if you've got multiple doc submissions, like you were in the newspaper a lot, let's just see. I don't know if it'll let you. Yeah, it'll let you do multiple attachments. So honestly,
Awesome.
what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Electronic or paper.
Okay. Okay. And then that will come to the national committee, and we will go through all those submissions and figure out, who has the best chance of winning the awards.
Yeah.
Share what
Terry?
your big hatters are doing. And we'd like to see more activities from the big hatters. And we'd like to actually see them. And I know Facebook is a huge way that everybody is sharing what they're doing. So capture those photos, capture those pieces and submit them, because there's nothing wrong with what you're sharing on Facebook to be submitted as part of your awards.
Hey, Fina or Jessica, can you post in the chat how to get to that link? Somebody's asked that. Somebody's asked that in the chat.
I sure will. So I'll post direct links and then we can walk through it together. So another question that I got was when it says chapters with 50 or more members or less than 50 members, is that talking about number of big hatters or is that talking about number of members within the chapter?
It is big hatters.
Okay.
And if you're unsure, National can answer your question so that you know which category to enter in.
Yep.
Yeah, so like Springfield would, they would do 50 or more members because, they got
100 or something, right at 100.
Yeah, it's right at 100 big hatters. So, you look at your well, hold on. Let me read this again. Um, no, it would be members, Jessica.
I think
It
we
would.
just, I think we decided last year that it was big hat
It's
members.
big hat members, because this is a big hat award. It doesn't have anything to do with the members of the club.
Okay, so we
Just
might
big hat.
reword that. We might
And
reword
I was going
that
to
to
say,
make it.
can
Sure.
National reword the document?
Yep. Yep. Let me just make a note of that. I was going to do it right here, but I'm sharing my screen.
Mhm.
And to be quite honest, I would really like, and I might get some flack for this, but to be quite honest, I would love to see these awards actually presented at the award ceremony. And the only reason why I say that is to try to help encourage non-big hatters to think about, because we talk about membership a lot. Um, think about, hey, what can I do to get members in? And we've got a great group of people that know how to do that. But that's something we can talk about at a later date. But I would love to see these awards being, since they are, even though they're national big hat awards, I'd love to let everybody see, what our big hatters are doing in their communities and to bring in membership.
Okay. So I think we've learned a few things here. We need to be sure to do our award submissions, especially for district governor newsletter and big hat.
I
Okay,
have a question about that. How many chapters do we actually have that have more than 50 big hatters? Or 50 or more? Can't be that many.
how many does Mountain Metro, if you know, I can go look it up.
Great
but
Plains has one. Great Plains region has one.
What are you
Yeah,
talking about? Your club has, are you talking about region or your
she's talking about
Region.
clubs with 50 or
Okay.
more.
Enid Moon is the only one.
What?
Well, you got to have a whole lot of members to have 50 big hatters.
We have probably 60 or 70 right now.
Wow. But how many of those 70 are big hatters? 33.
We have about half of our club, almost
Yeah.
a little over half of our.
Well, yes,
big
but
hats.
they're saying the awards are for big, you have to have 50 big hat members to be in the 50 or more club.
Yeah.
There's not that many clubs that have 50 big hatters.
No,
That's true.
we have one.
I always thought that meant clubs of 50 or more members, not just big hatters. That's how they based it.
Well, why don't we all just visit about that and then we'll update it accordingly.
Because I thought that's the way I remember when we put that in, and I was thinking it was for smaller club group, 25 or whatever, 50 members or less, and then bigger clubs, 50 members or more, which would divide it a lot more evenly.
Paul is weighing in the chat, and I think she's agreeing with you, Cliff. Let's see.
See, and for some reason, I remember last year Luke was trying to figure out some matrix mathematical common core math stuff to figure out, how to judge these. And I don't think we got to a point that we had a good system. So I just feel like, and Terry, you can weigh in too, but I'm pretty sure it is based on members, not big hat members, because you can have, 300 members and only 20 big hatters. So I think it is based on how many members you have in your chapter, not your big hatters.
I think you should change the numbers
That's
and make it be big hatters.
I think it would,
Not-
I think we
shouldn't
need
be
to
the
reflect
members
on
of
how
the
many
club.
big hat members we have, how many big hatters are in that chapter to submit an award. I'd like to see us move towards that if that's not where we are, and kind of revise the numbers. And because we've had a change since, COVID, we've had to change how many members we have, how many Big Hat members we have. And I would just like to see, we've had so many, what I see are so many more Big Hat chapters actually doing some really great things. And I think we can make some updates and some changes to where it's more fair and more valuable to Big Hat chapters to enter.
Hey, Fina.
Yes.
Hey, I just called Luke and said, hey, what do you remember? So I got him on speaker and hey, Luke, you want to share your thoughts?
Sure. Hello, everybody again. I thought I was done with these. So the way I did it was the over 50 actual Big Hat members and under 50 Big Hat members. But after seeing like all the responses that we actually received, if you guys wanted to lower that number, I don't think that would be the worst thing in the world. But like the tail end of what I was just hearing was that, there's so many newer, bigger things that members are actually doing these days. I do think it would be worthwhile to have that separation so that we can, give more recognition rather than just only one thing out to one chapter. And then that is all I'm going to add to that.
Thanks, Luke.
You guys get back to it.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it, buddy. On your thoughts.
Jessica, and I'm looking at the bylaws. There is no number in the bylaws. It just says securing the highest number of new members during the that's for the member. And then it says for a banner medallion shall be awarded to the Big Hat chapter who, in the opinion of the judges, National Big Hat Executive Board, had the most outstanding bid activities. And then having the next one is shall be awarded to the chapter having the most or new additional Big Hat members during the period. So it really in the bylaws does not state. I think that would be something that we might have to figure out, but I think this is an easy fix that we just lower the number.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why don't, okay, so
I think we should have a division between larger chapters in terms of membership and smaller chapters in terms of membership. And there's no reason why we can't have an award for percentage of big hats per size of the organization. So you're that way you're rewarding some of the smaller chapters for having big hat members in spite of the fact that they're a small organization, and you're not denying the larger organizations chapters for having a lot of big hat members. For instance, a chapter that's got averages around 300 chapters and still has 100 big hatters. That's 30% of their overall membership, and I think that should be rewarded as well.
Well, absolutely. I think what we're just talking about is lowering that 50 number, because we have, I think, maybe 2 that actually has 50 and over. So they would absolutely probably, if they submitted, would win the award every single time. So I think if we lowered that number, that would be great. Gordon, did you have something?
Yeah, I actually just looked up the Big Hat membership. The highest one clearly is Springfield with 88. Enid Noon has 53. Grapevine has 43. Salina 38. Great Plains chapter 35. Mountain Metro 34, and everybody else is lower than that.
So that's what I thought. I remember when that was put in, I'm almost sure it was based on the amount of total members in the chapter.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
One club, all they got to do is write, "We're in," and they win.
Yeah. So I think we could probably talk about it for a long time because I went back to my
Yeah.
emails where it came up last year and I was just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling because we had so much conversation about it. So I'm almost wondering on the awards form if we even need to have them identify either way if they're 50 or more. I mean, I don't even think they need to think about it. Just
I don't
submit
think
your
so either.
award and then we take it from there.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't think we need to put a number on it because that's why I read the actual bylaws about it. Because I think that was the first time I had seen the award last year paper was when people submitted. Terry, I know, won an award for Edmund. So I mean, I don't
Years
think
ago.
just
It is said somewhere, I don't think it's the Constitution, but it's spelled out that there are two over 50 and under 50, and then there's top big hat, which is the big hatters or the chapter that recruited the most people. Yeah, let's visit about it.
Okay. Jessica, I'll get with you because this is something that we could easily fix,
Mhm.
you know, within the next week or so and get the information out. But also, it does say in the bylaws about the awards. It says the following awards shall be presented each year at the annual meeting of the National Big Hat Club or during the national awards portion of the conference. So it can be an either or process.
Okay. All right.
Thank
So
you.
so that we try to get done in an hour, let me go back to sharing screen. And all right. Don't let me be one of those people who thinks I'm sharing the right screen and I'm not. What do you see?
Award guidelines.
Yay. All right. So how do I get to that document? I am on the hub. I am under resources up here at the top. I am under chapter education. Now we acknowledge that this is a lot. This is a big long list of documentation. It's something that is on our list of things to look at. People ask for a search function. We don't have that yet. But I like to hold down the control key and hit the letter F. And that lets me look for award. It's right there. But if you just want to remember, it's about halfway down. So that will take you to this document. Every kind of award and also every kind of date that we've ever offered is listed in this. So you've got your merit awards, which are things that are based on your activity submissions, your program giving, everything that is calculated is a merit award. And so you can learn about some of those here. Achievement awards has been the big topic for tonight. If you get to page 5 of this document, you'll see the electronic submission forms, and you are able to click on those and go directly to them. I've got them open though, so we'll touch base on that in just a bit. Once you get towards the end of this document, we try to hide them down here from you. No, actually, it's just a really big document. So about page, what is it, 15? You start to see these paper submissions. Now, you don't need to do both. If you decide to do the electronic form, you don't have to fill out this paper submission and submit with it. The electronic form will ask you some of these questions, but it is a 2-pager. You'll just want to pay attention towards the different things that you're supposed to cover in the write-up that you include as part of your submission. So you'll have a paper entry form at the end of the award guidelines for every single one of the achievement awards that help guide you through what you need to be sure to look at. Now, what I think is probably good practice is to maybe go to this document because it does do a really good job of laying everything out. It's a good roadmap, a good prep tool for when you're writing your submission and making sure that someone qualifies. And then at that point, you know, if electronic submission is easier for you, you're able to come here and you've already done the preliminary work, you've already followed the roadmap, and you're ready to go ahead and do your submission. So it's pretty straightforward. You've got two different forms. And the reason for that is when we were trying to create something that would make it a little bit easier to follow, we noticed that some of the achievement awards recognize the chapter. So when you talk about visibility, community service, the newsletter, all of these things are very chapter oriented, whereas the individual form is specifically recognizing a person. So your AMBUC of the year, your project manager, your therapist of the year. So once you get down here, it's pretty straightforward. You'll fill in your chapter, your district if applicable, your region, who's filling out the form. And then when you decide the award that you're submitting at this time, and only one submission per form. So if you decide to submit for all of these categories, you will actually fill in the community service information. And then when you're finished, you'll come down here, tell it you're not a robot, and click submit. And then you'll end up going back to this form later if you want to do a submission for a different category. So I'm going to do local charities, answer the questions, do the amount of money that was given, and submit my form.
What if I am a robot?
Well, then it's probably a waste of time for you then, because it's not going to let you submit it. What kind of questions do you guys have?
Yeah.
I know this is information overload, and I'll be the first one to say I read every submission that makes it to our office. We have some really, really amazing chapters and people who are out there doing the great work of AMBUCS. I have also had that, what do you mean that person didn't win moment? And that's just because we have such amazing submissions. I would say right now we have people who are typically outsiders. They don't know a lot about AMBUCS. I would be sure to offer a little bit of explanation about what you do. So Gino mentioned a garage sale one year. I'm going to imagine that they probably did a really good job of giving some descriptors about it and what goes into that activity. Sometimes when our people who are external reading about projects or programs or even the AMBUCS things that we do, and they don't have a working comprehension of what that is, it can kind of be a disadvantage to them when they're reading and they can't fully appreciate the document as it's been presented. Okay, so we got a question. Once we submit, do we get receipt of the submission so that we know that it went through? And thank you for that, Gordon. You will. However, Dee, if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know where the submission went, or maybe it ended up in your spam folder and it's just not appearing in your inbox, if you'll reach out to us, we can get you a copy of it as well. What other questions do you guys have?
I'm good.
Okay. It's a lot. I would encourage you to do it. Go brag about your people. I don't think we do enough of it, honestly. I would love to get so many submissions that I just feel really sad that we have to choose.
So if you guys, whoever has the awards there, if you could just check those, like the dates, like the 3 that I did, Therapist of the Year, it does say it needs to go to nationals by June 1st. And then district governor by June 1st and newsletter by July 1st.
Yep.
And they all really need to be, I mean, I know it's the 15th now, and whoever's been on this knows it's the 15th, but there's going to be a lot of people who pull these awards who aren't going to know.
Yep.
So if we could maybe get somebody to
I
double
was
check.
guilty of that with the therapist of the year. And I called Carmela. Carmela, you listening? You remember me calling and begging, going, holy shit, it's way mean the 15th. June 1st.
But that's what it says on the form. So that's the only reason for those folks who don't know.
Yeah, thank you for that, Linda. Yeah, we'll
Gotta
get that
change the
updated.
document. Just gotta change the document.
Yeah.
Yeah. So funny that you mentioned Therapist of the Year. Did you guys know that that one has a really cool incentive? So if your person wins, that is the one award where they are told beforehand, because they get an all expenses paid trip to AMBUCS, the National AMBUCS Conference.
Yep.
We want that person to be one of our keynote speakers during the foundation program. And it's just the organization's way to further recognize the works of our therapists and how we believe in the partnerships and how that works together. We want them to come in and talk about what they're doing so that we feel good about the dollars that we're putting into their education and the number of Amtrakes that we're getting for their clients.
And if you missed last year's National Therapist of the Year, you really missed a big one.
You did.
Yeah, it was really great. All right. Well, if there are no other questions.
I have a question, Jessica.
Yeah.
You made a comment, sorry about my phones. You made a comment that it's on the Therapist of the Year about how many trikes they given away. What if we have a Therapist of the Year that maybe not necessarily does a lot of trike giving, but does a lot for AMBUCS?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yes, they would still be a wonderful candidate.
Okay.
Yeah. How have they worked with that AMBUCS chapter to help
Or
move
region.
forward? Or region, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Anything else?
It's been real.
It has been real. Thank you all for joining. So we will get this chapter chat recording uploaded. We will get those dates fixed. And of course, if anybody has any questions of us at any other point outside of this chapter chat, feel free to reach out.
This has been the best turnout we've had for quite a while.
Yeah, it's fun. Thank you
Thanks
all.
everybody for showing up.
I hope that means we're going to get a ton of submissions.
Absolutely. Yes, yes,
I
yes.
hope so.
All right. Thank you all.
All right. Good night, guys.
Yeah, see you,
Bye.
everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Good night, all.